This is the OpenSource.club, a free St. Louis-focused knowledge share podcast. Through industry experts, entrepreneurs, personal stories, and more, we provide the information you need to achieve and thrive. Always visit our website, theopensource.club, for more details. Contact us on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn.
13,000 homeowners could soon lose their homes. Flooding and erosion is destroying our community. We are in danger, according to a 2020 FEMA climate control report. North County resident Theotry Spears agrees. In the past 40 years, Spears has watched Maline Creek grow into a raging river. Spears and his 75 neighbors say their backyards are eroding away. I'm your host, Bonita Cornute, and this is Money Mondays by the Open Source. MSD's Public Affairs Manager, Sean Hadley, is here to explain why flooding and erosion are crisis matters.
You are listening to Money Mondays by the Open Source. Become a subscriber. Go to www.theopensource.club. Add your email address in the subscribe to podcast window and have podcast notifications delivered to your inbox.
Headquartered in St. Louis, MSD is the fourth largest sewer and stormwater utility in the United States. The company services St. Louis City and 90% of St. Louis County with 9,600 miles of sewer lines. We invited Sean Hadley to talk about Maline Creek and other flooded zones. It is important that we learn more about these issues and what can be done to solve the problem. Welcome, Sean. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Maline Creek. That's an area that seems to be of great concern to homeowners. What causes it to grow from that pleasant stream to a 6-foot deep river after a hard rain? Any ideas?
Yeah, so that would be what we consider, that's called erosion. And so what happens over time is that the Maline Creek didn't probably start out as big as it was. And it's one of those things that over time the rains and everything start kind of washing away and eroding away the creeks. What you're going to see with creeks and streams is that they tend to expand, and the water tries to go wherever it can, and so it takes away the earth and everything around it.
And with the heavier rainfalls, then that means there's even more water flowing into that creek bed and spreading it even further. Is that a logical?
Yes. That's a very logical thing. Is that what happens is that as you get more rain, it does tend to kind of eat away at the ground and kind of erode again with around there. And it's another thing where even going into development kind of causes some of that erosion. So like in certain areas of Maline Creek upstream of there, there's been a lot more development that wasn't there to start out with, and that's added to the flow and made that water run more rapidly through that creek, which has probably caused that creek to expand a lot faster than what it probably would over time.
I see. Now, this homeowner, Theotry Spears, he says he's scared. He says that a portion of his backyard is gone and soon his home may be in jeopardy. Does he have any options?
So his options. So actually, Mr. Spears is a very nice resident. I've met with him several times. When they bought that house, that creek was nowhere near as big as it was over. And I think he said he saw it expand within 15 to 20 years of living there. And one of the things is that it's actually starting to take out his fence, and it's starting to move into more of his property line. And the fix there is it's not an easy fix. It's a very costly fix. It's to stabilize that bank. And the biggest thing is that MSD doesn't own creeks or streams. We help maintain them and make sure they're clear from any debris, from blockages, so they don't back up and that sort. But we're two utilities in one. So to understand about MSD is that we are a wastewater utility, which is wastewater, which is like your water that goes down your toilet, your showers, and everything. And then we're also a stormwater utility, which is capturing the the rainwater that comes down. MSD's funding sources are two different buckets. We have a wastewater funding source and we have a stormwater funding source. Under the wastewater funding source, that's when you pay your sewer bill. So the bill that you're paying to flush your toilet and to run your showers, your water, and all that stuff. That's a whole different funding source from stormwater. Stormwater funding source is very limited in what we have. We have right now MSD is only authorized and funded to maintain the current infrastructure, which means anything that was already there existing, the storm sewers, the inlets, and any type of storm basins that are owned by MSD, owned and operated by MSD, we're able to actually maintain those. That's it. Now, as far as flooding and erosion goes, there's no funding source for private property issues, which would be what Mr. Spears is experiencing with an erosion issue, because he actually does own part of that creek.
So to stabilize the bank, you said that might be an option for him. What does that involve? A retaining wall or just adding more dirt?
So it's actually illegal now by the EPA to actually put in concrete channels. That's something that MSD actually used to do. We'd go in and we'd put in concrete channels in those creeks and kind of shore them up. The only fix now is what we call like kind of a green infrastructure fix. It's basically to put like Gabion rock or something along, like some sort of rock beds down there, and plants to naturally absorb that water and take those roots, and have those plants take root and kind of take hold and kind of regrow that area. That's like the only natural fix that's there. But for a homeowner, that's very costly. For MSD, we don't have the funding to do it. We have the projects identified. We know how much exactly it would cost to fix that, but we can't do that because we're a publicly funded utility, and it's something that we're not authorized to do.
Wow. So that means the legislature or someone has to work on finding an answer for those homeowners in that situation.
And that's something that we've worked with the state reps on trying to find some sort of funding source. One thing that we did do is that we did put a proposal out there for stormwater, and that was in 2018, and that was to actually address the flooding and erosion issues.
I see. Is FEMA right? Do we really have a flooding and erosion problem, or is it limited just to certain areas, certain pockets, or is it metropolitan area wide?
It's one of those things that we do have, a flooding and an erosion issue in certain areas within the region of St. Louis. You don't really see a lot of flooding issues in the city of St. Louis, and there's a reason for that, and that's because going back into the fact that the way that our sewer system is built, the city of St. Louis is on a combined sewer system, which means that wastewater and stormwater go into the same system. Out in the county, like out where Maling Creek, where Mr. Spears lives, that's on a separate system. So you have the wastewater system where the water you're flushing down the toilet and everything like that goes into one system, and then you have stormwater that goes into another system. The tricky part here is, and remember I said a little bit ago, is that we have two funding sources. We have a wastewater funding source, and we have a stormwater funding source. So in the city of St. Louis, since it sits on a combined sewer, the EPA actually deems stormwater as wastewater once it touches wastewater. So meaning that when it rains in the city of St. Louis, since it's going into the same system as the wastewater system, it's all considered wastewater. So the interesting thing here is we're actually able to fix issues in the city because it's deemed a wastewater issue.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I didn't realize it would work that way. Is all of this tied to climate change?
So that's a big topic out there. I'm not dodging it because I'm not a weather person, but we have seen a lot more, more storms coming through here at more of a bigger capacity, more frequently, dropping a lot more rain in a short period of time. And I mean, you could deem that that's something that's causing. I mean, because you've got. I mean, you go back to 2015 in the 2015 and the 16 in December, we had that big historic flood in December, which is winter time, and we're having massive rainstorms and not having snow. So that's kind of one of those things that what's really going on here, and you can kind of attribute to there's some changes in the weather patterns.
Mm-hmm. Where would the information about flooding and erosion zones be available to the public homeowners? Do you have a website?
There's not really a website for flooding and erosion zones. On our website, msdprojectclear.org, you will find information about, again, like you can find information about Know Your Zone, which is our flood awareness program. You find information about about basement backups, about wastewater, about different projects that we're doing out there. But there's no really a website you can go to see where flooding and erosion occurs. We consider like localized problems, so that they're in different areas throughout the region. Mm-hmm. And one of the things is, like I kind of touched on a minute ago, is that we went out to the voters in 2018 to get voters to vote to fund these issues of flooding and erosion, and that was actually the ballot initiative failed. And so it was one of the things where the people basically spoke up and said that, if it's not in my backyard, then why am I going to vote for something and pay for somebody else's problem? And that's the biggest thing that we're seeing in St. Louis, that we're all in this together. But when it comes to kind of the voting aspect of it, it didn't come out that way.
I understand. Don't we think that sometimes? Not in my backyard. As long as it's not affecting me, I don't understand it, and I don't want to pay for it. But as you point out, that puts more strain and stress on the larger community when we don't work together on something like that. All of this has been very helpful information, Sean. It actually eliminates any confusion and suggests that property owners need to reinforce flooding protection with that insurance and know where to go and when it's required that you have that insurance. Is there anything that you could add that the community should do or needs to do to slow climate change?
I mean, the biggest thing is just being aware of, again, we don't dictate or tell you where you can develop, and just being mindful of that there's a lot more development going on. There's a lot more, expansion, and that's going to add to, some of these creeks and streams, kind of expanding because of the flow that's adding to those areas and everything. One thing I always say is, we don't want to buy. If you're buying a house, I mean, I know with me and my family, we never buy houses near or look at property near creeks or streams, because I tell a lot of my friends this. I'm like, that nice little brook or stream or creek that you see in your backyard there, or that you see in that property, it's not going to probably look like that in 10 to 15 years.
You're going to have a river back there.
Quite possibly.
Quite possibly. Sean Hadley, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate the information.
Thank you.
Climate control has put 13,000 of our neighbors in jeopardy. FEMA says that St. Louis is in a flooding and erosion crisis. Those living along the Maline Creek agree. The Autry Spears bought his home 40 years ago. Today, he wonders when it will all wash away. St. Louis is surrounded by the Mississippi, Missouri, and Merrimack rivers. This should sound alarm bells for all of us. Establish a flood protection safety program. Learn the potential for danger in your neighborhood. Go to www.knowyourzone.org. Sit down with your friends, family, and neighbors and develop a strategy. How will you change your life to reduce gases? MSD is doing its part. They are working right beside you, but we all need to participate. I'm your host, Bonita Cornute, and this has been a Money Mondays episode by The Open Source. To hear more shows like this one, go to www.theopensource.club. Add your email address to the podcast subscription window and get new content in your inbox.
Thank you for listening to the OpenSource.club podcast. Become a subscriber through RSS or YouTube. There's more to come that you won't want to miss. Our name is our web address, theopensource.club.